All right, Cancer, this one's a little bit difficult. And I really believe that the message here is that, first of all, you've been in a situation for far too long that is making you unhappy. And that an opportunity is going to be presenting itself for you to actively do something about your dreams and your goals. But you cannot be in a place where you're making excuses as to why you cannot actively pursue them, okay? So hunter, aggressor, tracker, and provider, and then you have complacency. Provider is what's sticking out to me here. I think that a lot of you are so used to doing things for the benefit of others that when it comes time for you to start doing something about what you want, you go into this place of, well, that dream is already lost. Too much time has passed, or it's not realistic or practical for me to actively pursue this, or I'm too old. You see what I'm saying? These are the complacent thoughts, but I also think it's a bad situation that you may have been in for a really long time. Maybe you're being a little bit too complacent about some things that are going on in terms of your career or relationship, and now it's time for you to actively do something about it. It's okay for you to go after what you want, right? But it's interesting to me because I'm looking at this and I think that it speaks very well to what is going on in astrology. Mars being in its fall position in Cancer. All right, Cancer, here is your overall. The Nine of Pentacles. Okay, so for some of you, you may be focused on independence, security, but the Nine of Pentacles, I kind of look at as like the vacation card, right? Like you've worked really hard for the things that you have. It's time for you to enjoy them, But we are talking about you being, happy and secure with yourself, and feeling independent. And for a lot of you, that may be what you are focused on right now. And it may be that, you need to find independence from a situation that has been like difficult for you, right? Now, in the past, the Hierophant, that to me immediately says that whatever you were dealing with in the past, you believed that that was the right thing to do, right? Conformity, convention, definitely a big commitment. But this could also be showing that some of you in the past have been seeking spiritual guidance, right? But I don't know, this one has the feeling of, this is what you need to do, It's almost like trying to explain away the sadness or, the hurt feelings about being in a situation where you're not happy. Like, things aren't always easy, but that's what you have to do. That's kind of what it feels like. It feels oppressive. In the present, the Seven of Pentacles, and this is you kind of reevaluating the situation. And it's interesting because you're more focused on tangible results here between the two pentacles, right? But this is taking stock of the situation and looking at what you have to show for all of this, right? So you may be reevaluating things now and thinking, well, maybe it's time for me. Like it's time for you to start focusing on creating, your own security and independence here with the Nine of Pentacles, that maybe this is not producing the results that you want, no matter how committed you've been or all the struggles that you have been through, right? Questioning faith even, what is it really giving me here? Maybe it is time to move on. And if that is what you're doing, whether it's relationship, career, or even, spiritual beliefs here with the Nine of Pentacles, you look much happier. Future conditions, the Nine of Swords. Why? So we're talking about fear and anxiety, right? The thing is, though, I think that you can't ignore these thoughts anymore. And I just see you being, like, unhappy because I don't believe that you're seeing the results that you want. And you can't force yourself to smile and eat shit. That's what I want to say, And what's funny here is that nothing is really bad other than the Nine of Swords, but I'm looking back at complacency in this. Like, oh, man. It's time for Cancer to start, tracking down what they want. It's not about other people anymore. But I still am looking at this Nine of Pentacles going, you're going to be in a much better position, even if it means that you're on your own. Don't fear that you've done the wrong thing, because I'm looking at that Seven of Pentacles and thinking, this is all you're going to see. And it's interesting because, you know, it's kind of the same message for Gemini. But you look like you're leading into a place here where there's going to be a lot of, you know, thoughts that are either going to push you to take action here, or when you do take action, you're going to be like second guessing it, expecting the worst. Your best path to follow, the Ace of Swords, the truth, clarity, right? And you need a new beginning here. You have to clear that shit out of your mind, right? But this is also, I feel like, accepting the truth of the situation. You know, that maybe you can have something better, or that you can commit yourself to, you know, something that's going to give you better results. You know, this may literally be like breaking a marriage here, or breaking a contract in terms of work, because you're looking at it with the Seven of Pentacles going, is this really what I wanted to see? Yeah, you know, and I think that you know this. I just think that you need to clear out outside noise. And I feel like that's going back to the Hierophant. You know, but we're talking about definitely a new beginning for you here, where there is a lot more clarity, truth, understanding, you know, breakthroughs here in terms of the way that you're thinking, right? But taking a hold of some new ideas here and putting it to benefit to you, to where you're getting the results that you want this time. Wow, man. Okay. And, you know, this is what I'm talking about. The Ten of Swords being in your environment. And again, like a breaking something here, like ending it. And it's not easy, it's difficult. You're talking about the painful ending with the Ten of Swords, but this is like needing this to be over with in a really big way. Now, for some of you, if you're ending something because of the Nine of Swords, you know, progressing out of this, you may be questioning on whether or not you've done the right thing by ending something, because it's based on your evaluation of it and what you've been seeing, you know, because you've been very committed, but I feel like it's constricting. And if you do choose to end something in order to focus on yourself, there may be a lot of painful thoughts that surround this. But I'm telling you right now, with that Ace of Swords being there, it's saying no. You know, see the truth, understand the truth, get that mental clarity. Because it is time for you to focus on having, you know, results that make you happy and make you feel comfortable, right? Your hopes and your fears, strength, not being able to have the strength to follow through on this. That would be the fear. The hope there is that, you know, you continue to hold on to that inner strength here when it comes to doing what is necessary for you. You know, because this is not an easy thing, especially for those of you who are leaving, you know, a certain career path for something different, or if you're leaving a marriage or a relationship. You know, but this is you hoping to continue to hold on to that strength and not be so drained to where you kind of give in and give up. Because I feel like you're like on the teetering edge. You're going to be in a place of, you know, maybe I shouldn't have done that, but you can't do that to yourself. Wow. And then coming out the Hangman, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that what you're doing here is you're stopping yourself from doing anything that is going to take away from your security and independence, you know, because of these thoughts that are kind of like plaguing your mind. So you're trying to see a different perspective on the situation with the Hangman. And I think that that's exactly what you need to do, is just kind of stop yourself, right? Because we need to clear all of that out and see the truth of the situation. You know, it's not going to be an easy ending, whatever it is that's coming to an end for you. But if you hold on to your strength, you're going to know that, you know, you're doing the right thing for you. Because if you feel like you've been a little bit too complacent, then this is what you need to do, right? And it's not selfish. It's not. So now, in terms of needing to see a different perspective, this may be, you know, searching out, again, like some kind of advice. But this is somebody that I think is going to clear things up for you if this isn't you. Now, if this is you, you're cutting off your emotions from what you are choosing to do here. Because you are not going to go back on what you are doing and how you're acting here with the Knight of Wands. I don't think that this is an in and out situation. I think that this is, you know, it is quickly done. But again, it's about you following your passion, your dream, right? So with the Four of Wands and the Hierophant, yeah, we could be talking about here a relationship or a marriage, something that we have gained like stability on. So I think that this is where the break is happening. There's something that has been established in your life, whether it's a relationship or a career. There may have been stability, but the thing is you're moving into this place where you're not seeing results. And for you, if you're rebuilding your foundation with the Hangman, this is saying don't turn back. You know, you have to see this from a different perspective here because of the Nine of Swords being there. But like I said, with the Knight of Wands here, we're talking about action, right? Swift action here, but with passion. And I don't think that you just abruptly decided to do something because, again, you're reevaluating the situation, but you also understand that it's going to lead to a painful ending. But it cannot be to the point where you are devastated and you cannot continue with what you are trying to do for yourself, right? And again, it's not selfish. Not if you have been in a place where you've been really depressed. And the thing is that you have a conscience about it because of the Nine of Swords, right? But with the King of Swords, this is, I need to shut off my emotions. I need to get clarity here. I need to, you know, stay with the feeling of I've made the right choice, right? And you're making a major choice here with the King of Swords, but you're pushing aside the emotional aspects here that may cloud your judgment, right? Because I'm going back to that Ace of Swords and thinking we need to clear things out. We need to be in a clear state of mind. And you do need to give yourself some time here to see it from a different perspective. Because it may seem like it's very selfish. I want to be on my own. I want to do things on my own. I need to break from something, you know, and you may feel like at one point that you have created this instability where things may have been stable in the past with the Four of Wands. But I think that this is going to be about, you know, you establishing something for yourself, something else for yourself that is more secure, something that, you know, allows you to follow a passion. But this is you going, you know, I need to get rid of these thoughts because I did do the right thing for me, you know, and it may seem cold and it may seem harsh, but you can't go back, right? Like, this wasn't without consideration, and you have a conscience about it. You know, it's just, it's not easy. So you're going to be experiencing new growth in your life, but it's going to be important for you to reconnect with spirit so that you can be in a place of being grateful rather than being in a place of regret and fear, is basically what this is saying. Gratitude is so important. But I like it. And reconnect with spirit is always good advice. Always good advice. You need to do what is going to make you feel whole spiritually, rather than being in a situation where you feel confined or restricted. And it's really what I'm feeling with the Hierophant, because it wouldn't be coming to this kind of ending if it weren't. And delight. Open your heart to joy, especially if you've been in situations that have been very difficult. So there's going to be a breakthrough in this situation. And I think that this is more so going to be mentally for you. But it's going to allow you to experience more joy and delight. So I really think that this is all about Cancer breaking free of a situation that is not going to give you what you are wanting. You know, but you cannot regret having to take certain actions here to end something if it's leading to a place where, you know, you're free, you're happy, right? You know, but I really feel like, you know, this is going to be a wake-up call for a lot of you, and it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a difficult transition. But again, I'm going back to the Hangman, and I'm thinking that this is the best thing for you to do right now, because you don't want to go back. Because if you do, that may be where the regret may come through.